The first point to make is that the gangs are based in Birmingham and always will be based in Birmingham. They expand north and south. They don't move geographically at all. So it's still the story of the Birmingham family who start to sort of find new opportunities. But obviously when they move south and when they move into territories where the London gangs are operating, they're up against some pretty formidable opposition. At the beginning is quite hard because he's disillusioned with what happened with Grace, and the story of the first series was he was a man who was closed down. He opened up to someone and got betrayed, if you like. So this is someone who is even more determined to just stick to business, and yet circumstances change and he finds himself romantically, if that's the right word, involved with two women. Yeah, I mean, it's an area of English history that has been unexplored for so long, possibly because it's about the working class and working class history, and the Americans are quite happy to do Chicago and all of that 1920s stuff, which was basically immigrants fighting against other groups of immigrants. But in Britain, we don't seem to concentrate on that, and any period drama seems to be about middle class, upper middle class people. But I'm really passionate that this is where the stories are, this is where the drama is. And anyone who does any sort of research into the racetrack gangs will see there was a whole world of stories to be exploited. Yeah, I mean, I'd worked with Tom on a film called Lock, and we'd had a good time, and it was great. And I think I'd written 4 of the 6 by then, and I showed him the 3 episodes in which this character appeared, and it's based on a real person called Alfie Solomons, who was the head of the Jewish gangs in North London at the time. So he liked the role, he liked the idea of it, and he agreed to do it. And my ambition was just to get Tom Hardy and Cillian together, facing each other in a room, and that's what happens. And we have some incredible scenes. There's Charlotte Riley, who plays May Carlton, who is from 2, 3, 4 classes above Tommy, but they meet through horses, and as a result of that there is a relationship. So I'm really interested in how the basic question of the whole series and all of the series will be, can you escape where you're from? Can you escape your roots? And Tommy here is suddenly mixing with some people of a very high social standing.
And obviously we can't wait for this new series. I'm curious, do you have in your mind a kind of a path for this story that goes beyond this series, and how far do you hope to take it?
Yeah, I mean, I want to end it with Sir Thomas Shelby. I want to look at the way that, and it's a story that is true throughout English history, where people who begin living off their wits, who begin at the bottom, make it to the top and become socially acceptable figures. So that's the story I want to tell of him, and I want to take it up to the Second World War. But I would love to ask the question, even when he gets into that position, has he escaped? Is he different? That's the question.
I mean, we kick off where we left off. It's going to be bigger and better. Tommy Shelby's got plans to move to London and take over. So expect more fighting, more drama, more sex. It's going to be darker, and I think it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Yeah, well, John's left back in charge of Birmingham as Cillian, Tommy Shelby's character, moves on and tries to expand, and I've sort of got to keep the ship running and keep the ship afloat. I've also got issues with my wife, so you see how that pans out. But it's essentially more of how Cillian's big plans impact on myself. I think the way it's been put together, I think the way Otto Bathurst set it up, he wanted it to be very bold, very American in a sense, where they celebrate the gangsters. So he gave every department a lot of license. So the haircuts and the clothing was very experimental and almost slightly exaggerated to what it would have been. So I think just making a really cool mythological gang using elements of truth and elements of real history has really captivated the audience. You know, we're doing it how the Americans are doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure as a young actor who's grown up watching these guys, and you know, I've got a lot of admiration for both of them. Two very different acting styles, equally brilliant. So it's great to watch how they work on set, and you know, realise you're not going too far different in terms of how you're preparing a lot of the time. But yeah, it's, you know, it's a dream for any young actor, I think, to be working with these sort of people. It's better than Series 1, you know. If you enjoyed Series 1, I think you're going to love this one.
My name's Adam L. Hagar, and I'm playing Ollie in Peaky Blinders, and that's Tom Hardy's right-hand man / nephew. Well, he's like I don't know how much I can really give away, really, but you know, he's Tom's little sidekick. But I'd say that it's more like he's on kind of work experience with Tom, and he doesn't really fit in terms of, like, you know, he's not a gangster. He's just a kid, really, but he loves it, and he loves every minute of it, and he's very proud of, you know, being on Tom's force, and he looks up to Tom. But it's kind of like maybe when the going gets rough, he's not quite there, you know, in a tough guy kind of way. But, you know, he loves it when he sees other people getting beat up, or, you know, or whatever. But he's, you know, he's soft-hearted. He's soft-hearted in the world of Peaky Blinders, I'd say.
What's it been like working with Tom Hardy? An extraordinary talent, of course.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. You know, I mean, Tom is like a hero of mine, really, an acting hero, and now he's a mate, and it's brilliant. And you know, it was just an amazing privilege to work with somebody who's so relevant at the moment, and doing wonderful things. And he's a fantastic guy, and he looked after me. And, you know, it's my first sort of big thing, so to be doing it with Tom was amazing. So really, really great. And, you know, I learned so much from him and Cillian as well. Cillian's just lovely. He's so laid back, and he's so chilled out, and he's a very good lad, and he's just effortless. You know, he can snap into that Brummie accent, that character straight away, and then come back to his, you know, soft, lovely Irishness. You know, and I think he's just, I mean, he's very, very, you know, he's very good at playing those arresting, intense characters. But I mean, you know, you've seen his work in Batman, and in you know, when he's played these, you know, like Dr. Crane, these, like, you know, crazy people, you know. But I think what's great about Tommy is, you know, he's a bad guy, but you're on his side and you love him, you know, and it's, you know, you see where he's coming from, and he just, you know, instills it with a lot of honesty. And I think that's generally, you know, the whole show has this really rootsy kind of grounded feel, and none of it seems put on. And also Tom as well brings that to Alfie, you know. Well, I think, you know, I mean, everybody loves, you know, a gangster kind of story that, you know, is true as well. But, you know, a lot of them are American, or, you know, they're sort of East End, and they don't date, you know, too far back. But the fact that you've got this, you know, sort of Boardwalk Empire style thing that is from the Midlands, you know, it's fun. And I'm actually from Birmingham. I'm actually originally from Birmingham, which is ironic because I'm playing a Londoner in this. But yeah, I think, you know, it's actually something to be proud of, and especially in Birmingham. I mean, we did the premiere last Sunday in Birmingham, and just the turnout was amazing for the second series of a TV show. It's fantastic, you know. And, it's exciting, you know. It's an exciting story, and, you know, I think Tommy Shelby is going to be, you know, looked up to as this kind of mythical figure now, you know, outside of Birmingham, as opposed to, you know, just people like Steve who heard about the Shelbys or the Sheldons, as they were actually called, you know, from his grandparents. Steve and Colin, yeah. Well, I mean, I've wanted to work with Steve for ages, you know, because I used to go to Steve's screenings in Birmingham, you know, where he showed Hummingbird, and he showed the first series of Peaky, and I was just really proud that this guy from Birmingham was bringing this stuff and doing, you know, being so involved, and then to actually work with him on a show that's about my hometown, it's just brilliant, you know. And I think Steve's work is really exciting, and it's really, you know, he's pushing boundaries. And Colin was just fantastic. You know, really, he's a very good director. He says, he's one of those directors who does what I think a director should do, which is, you know, says very little unless it's needed and just lets things organically grow. And I think, you know, he's just going to blow up from this, you know. And it's fantastic that he's had the whole series to do himself, you know, as opposed to when it was Tom Harper and Otto Barthos, you know, split up. I think it's amazing if you get the opportunity to direct a whole series. I mean, that's amazing.
I'm Finn Cole, and I play the character of a character called Michael, who's he's very different to the gang and to everyone else in the gang. But you know, he'll have a big impact on the future of the gang, which is quite exciting, I think. When I first read it, the writing is just amazing. I think Steve Knight is incredible, and I think that that's one of the biggest attractions. The character's been really well thought about, which is really nice, and then obviously the people on board. My brother's on board, which is great. Get along very well, and the other actors who work who are so professional and really easy to work with. So everything, all those reasons were really good, I think. But yeah, that's why. It's an expansion. It's just going to go further. It's going to go deeper. It's going to go darker, and it's going to get more exciting. There's more to do now. I think the characters have been introduced. We can really sort of get the good storylines out, and I think that's what's been done. Cillian's very down to earth, and he works very hard. And I think anyone that puts in, I think that amount of work really pays the benefit in terms of what they look like and their success. I think Cillian's great, and he's really easygoing, and he's really helpful, and you know, I can talk to him and ask him things, and I think that'll be why. But working with Cillian has been a brilliant experience. Working with everyone has been a brilliant experience. I haven't actually worked with Tom, but I think he's very, very exciting. He's got a very exciting character, and he's very professional. And I think that it'll bring a really sort of exciting thing to the show. It's going to be really nice. I think he'll be really popular with the crowd, with the fans. I think it's just such an exciting period of history. I think it's forgotten basically because of the First World War. But it is such an exciting. It's people rebuilding their lives and how people have and how it's affected different people. Obviously, people of different ages within the show, different characters experience different things, and it's really exciting to see how those characters interact with different experiences and how people get along. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about my character. And when I first read it, is that's a really different backgrounds, and to put those people together, it does make really exciting viewing and really exciting performing as well. It's really good fun. And as I say, I'm glued to the scripts, and I can't wait to read more. Can't wait to hear more ideas.
My name's Paul Bullion, and I'm playing a character called Billy Kitchen.
And can you tell us a little bit more about where he fits into the murky and dangerous world of Peaky Blinders?
Billy Kitchen is a guy from the Black Country. So obviously there's that rivalry between the Brummies and people from the Black Country. And Cillian's character is looking to expand his army, if you like, and take over London. So he has to build alliances. So my character wants in on that, and he likes to get his hands dirty in the expansion, should you say? Yeah. Obviously, we're moving on into a period where you know, cocaine's a big thing. So you'll see in this series that it's quite on edge when it comes to, especially the fight scenes, particularly. You'll see they're very explosive, and that comes across definitely in the feel of the piece. And you'll see a lot of action in this coming series. Tom brings what he probably brings to everything that he's done, which is he brings a lot of charisma, especially on set. But he brings a lot of danger when you're watching him and when you're working with him. It really comes across, and he feeds so much into the scene, and he definitely gives you a lot to work with, for sure. I didn't actually personally work with Helen myself. I didn't have any scenes with her, but I've met her. She's a lovely lady, and big fan of her work. But working with people like Tom, and I worked very closely with Paul Anderson for most of the stuff that I did, and he was very generous to work with, and he was very high energy, which rubbed off on other people around him, which was great to be around for sure. I mean, the writing is in my opinion second to none for this kind of genre, and it's got its own characteristics for sure. And Colm is again just a fantastic director. He knows what he wants, and he's very nice to be around. He doesn't bark orders. He's just a lovely director, lovely man.
Well, series 2 isn't at a loss for drama and fights, violence. Every character has an arc and goes through a journey. Lizzie does reappear in series 2, which is fantastic. And she has been given a chance by the Shelbys to have a chance in her life, basically, and turn her life around. But if you're going to get involved with the Shelbys, then you're going to get cut. Well, I unfortunately haven't had any chance to work with Tom Hardy, but with Cillian, pretty much all my scenes were with him, and obviously he's a fantastic person to act with. I had a great time, really good time. As soon as, well, in the first series, as soon as the opening was Red Right Hand playing, Nick Cave's Red Right Hand was playing, you're already on a winner. The cinematography, it's another height. The writing, everything about it is just classy, and it'd be great if more British drama aimed for those heights. It's pretty good.
What else have you got coming up yourself at the moment?
At the moment, I am just on the hunt for work. So yeah, nothing in the foreseeable future, but hopefully.
My final question, obviously, we miss Misfits so much. Looking back on that experience for you, what's your fondest memory of your time on set with the guys in the gang?
Of the Misfits? Oh, well, I mean, I had such a good time with my tortoise. I actually started to believe that there was a man in there, so that's a bit worrying, isn't it?
Thanks for the chat. Do you have a message for fans before you leave us, particularly about Peaky Blinders?
I hope you enjoy it. I know you'll enjoy it. And wear your peaks, I guess. Wear your peak caps when you're watching it.